Welcome to educationcloset.com. My name is Susan Riley, and I'll be your host today as we talk about Common Core, the big picture. If you visited our YouTube channel before, you'll notice that I've done quite a bit on Common Core already, as far as just an overview of what it is, how to assess with Common Core, some of the big ideas, but this particular broadcast is going to be more along the lines of breaking it down into what it really is, what you need to know, and how we work with it in the arts, and how to make it work for all of our kids. So I'm going to start with talking about the fact that Common Core is now based on process rather than skills specific. That doesn't mean that we don't teach skills. We do teach skills. They're important, they're critical for our kids to learn, but the focus on Common Core is actually on the process of what our students are learning. So for instance, we're not just focused in first grade on students being able to read with a certain amount of fluency. Now we're looking at how do they learn to read? What's the process that's involved in reading? Breaking that down and doing it on a 1-to-1 ratio so that the elements that are required to learn how to read, what that process is, we break down the elements that are feasible and really advisable for our students in first grade to be able to do, and that is our expectation now for first grade, is that they learn how to read. And through that, then, we build our skills out from the process. The standards themselves are spiral, which means that we're starting with really basic stuff and going up through the more complex to the point where students are taking the skills and the processes that they've learned and attacking new problems that there are no answers to yet, which is exactly what we want for 21st century learners. In reading, the focus is really on vocabulary, discussions, and speaking and listening skills. Those are the big components that are new with Common Core in reading. And I say new, but really in education not a lot is new. We're just, it's a different spin on things, and there's a different level of emphasis, I think. The vocabulary is huge. The fact that we have to focus on vocabulary and building those skills in our students is critical for 21st century. Because I can tell you right now that my 2-year-old at home knows a broader level of vocabulary than I would have at 2 more than 25 years ago, because the advancements of how they learn, and because our students are different. They're coming to us with different skills. My daughter has been exposed to TV and computers and video games and reading at different levels for years, for 2 full years now, and so she now has a broader range of vocabulary skills. So why are we teaching vocabulary that doesn't really relate to our students? Instead, we should meet them where they are and extend and grow and push. And so the emphasis on that vocabulary and developing that vocabulary is a critical move in these Common Core standards. Discussions. In Common Core, it's very interesting if you look at it. There is a big emphasis on Socratic discussion. Having those discussions with our students, treating them as if they have opinions to offer on a subject and information that they would like to ask and push and pull, rather than just as if they were empty sponges waiting to be filled. And so it breaks it down into 2 different types of discussions: large group, that you talk about it together as a class, and small group, so that you give students the opportunity to bounce ideas off of their peers. And you can do that as early as kindergarten. Or you get to really complex, rich discussions in those upper grade levels in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, where students, you pose those questions that you may not have the answers to, and that is okay. We want our students to be able to think critically, question, because that's what it is in the 21st century. We're now questioning things. We have access to information. We know that the information is there. Now it's, what do we do with it? How do we push? How do we extend beyond that information? It's not just about filling anymore, filling the vase. Now it's more about, what do you do with the information that you have? And then speaking and listening skills. Obviously, this video is a great representation of that. The the YouTube generation, we're all talking to each other and we're all listening to each other and we're building ideas and learning from that. And so being able to practice those skills in a classroom setting is vital. And so that is included in our reading Common Core standards. In math, and we've kind of gone over this in my other videos before, but it bears repeating, the processes are the same, K to 8. All the processes are exactly the same, but the skills that you use to master those processes are different. So you're learning on with how to manipulate numbers. What do they mean? How to add two together, how to use addition to help you with subtraction in kindergarten and first grade. And then by the time you're in 8th grade, you're using algebraic equations to do the same processes, just in a different way that is more complex and builds upon the skills that you developed earlier on. And then in writing, there's an emphasis on research, and particularly writing for information purposes or argumentative, or what I'm calling persuasive writing. So that, again, if we look at where we are in the 21st century, there's a huge explosion of blogs and opinions and newspapers, online newspapers and online articles. How do you know what's fact, what's fiction, what's researched, what's not, what's opinion, what is informative, unless you're working with that and able to do that yourself. So it's a new medium that we're developing. And then we're also looking at production and distribution of writing, because it is different. Every year we're doing something different. That iPad, Kindle, it all changes everything, the way that we get our information and our writings and reading. And so it's important that our students have the opportunity to look at the different types of productions of writing. And then the other thing about Common Core is that it really does place an emphasis on 21st century skills, particularly the 4 C's, which are creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. And this is where the arts become the key, because the arts are actually the thread that binds these two together. If you look at all the art standards, from music to visual art to dance, they're all based on the same 4 set of processes. The production of the art, the history of the art, aesthetic value of the art, how to listen, and then how to create on your own. And so all of these, if you think about it, go back to the 4 C's: creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. Any art form allows you to do all 4 at the same time, usually, although there are emphases at certain points. So when we want to build those skills within the Common Core, the best way we could possibly do that is to weave in the arts, and that's where arts integration really is key. If you'd like to find out more about arts integration and Common Core, please join me at educationcloset.com, and where we share free resources, writing, guest posts, and more every day. Thanks.